Rutgers men's basketball surviving a scare from St. Peter's on Monday night, winning 75-65 at the rack, 2-0 on the season. Let's get a few things straight here. First off, defensive performance by Rutgers, not nearly good enough at all. We knew coming in that St. Peter's shot relatively well from behind the arc, was at 35% coming in, took 45% of their overall shots from behind the arc. And that's what made this a ball game. St. Peter's was 10 of 27 from three, 37%. They started the game 6 of 12 in the first half when they went to halftime with a 5-point lead. Their best player, Randolph, who shot the lights out over 43% last year from three, was 4 of 8 from three in this game. Led St. Peter's with 22 points, and it got close. And Rutgers actually had pulled away in that second half, came out of the locker room, played pretty well, took a 9-point lead, and then St. Peter's got back into the game behind the arc, led by 1 point, and Rutgers, showing they're a good team, closed out the game in dominant fashion, an 11-0 run, delivering a kill shot, holding the Peacocks to a scoring drought of over 4 minutes, 13-2 run over 5 minutes, 11-0 run over 3:49. St. Peter's just 1 of 10 on their last 10 shots. And listen, there's a lot to offensively. This was in years past, we would have been off our seats just on the ground in disbelief that this team was so efficient offensively, and yet it was still a close game because the defense isn't there yet. Obvious, no doubt. Playing their second game without Ace Bailey, I think, yes, defensively it was a concern. You gave up way too many threes. They just were out of position, points in the paint. They did dominate there, but St. Peter's still getting 22 points in the paint. In terms of transition, it was 20-12 Rutgers. So overall, Rutgers out-rebounded St. Peter's by 4. But offensively, there was a lot to be encouraged. At the same time, they shot very poorly from three. They were just 3 of 16 in this game. So that was pretty disappointing. Overall, 48.2% from the floor. Shot 50% in the first half. 12 of 26, 46% in the second half. Overall, Rutgers still pretty good from at the rim. They were a total of 20 of 31 at the rim on layups and dunks. That's right at 65%. Again, night and day compared to last year. Their points per possession, which anything over 1 is considered good, and 1.23 points per possession. That's a very efficient offensive performance. Why? When they shot that poor from 3, well, they only committed 6 turnovers. They assisted on more than 50% of their made field goals, which is both 2 very encouraging signs. 6 turnovers all day, and they had 14 assists on 27 field goals. They were much better from the line tonight, 18-25, 72%, 12 of 15 when it mattered most in the second half, 80%. Dylan Harper, props to him, bouncing back after that 1 of 6 performance in his debut. I talked about, I really thought it was just a matter of him getting his legs underneath him in a college game. Comes back tonight, 7 of 8 from the foul line. Huge performance there. Overall, he was 7 of 11 from 2-point range. His ability to get downhill, that was pretty much the difference in Rutgers being able to pull away in this game. Was pretty much able to do it whenever he wanted. He was just 1 of 6 from 3, still finding his sea legs from behind the arc, but game high, 24 points, 8 of 17 total from the floor, 7-8 from the line, 6 rebounds. He did have just 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 32 minutes, led Rutgers in minutes played, +9, which was for the game. Overall, this is something that Rutgers, it's always better to learn in a close win than a loss. And just for perspective, Ken Pom projected Rutgers to win by 16. They won by 10. Ace didn't play. It's still day-to-day. I really don't think he's going to be out much longer. Obviously, this is a different team with him in there. I thought the second half rotations were a little bit funky. It was obvious Pikel prioritized defense down the stretch, and it's hard to argue. I mean, they got their stops. They shut out St. Peter's the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game with, Durkak, Jermichael Davis in there, along with Jeremiah Williams, Zach Martini, and Dylan Harper. I thought Jordan Durkak, scrappy yet again, and picked his shots wisely. He was 3 of 5 from the floor, 0-1 from 3, 3 of 4 from the line, 9 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a block and a steal in 25 minutes. Provided really good on-ball defense once again. So was encouraged by him. And then Lathan Sommerville, another really solid performance inside, 14 points on 5 of 8 shooting, 4 of 5 from the line for the big fella. He did have 4 rebounds and 3 blocks, 25 minutes. He is certainly looking like the much better option at the 5. Manu Ogbole, again, limited action tonight. He played 10 minutes. He did not foul. Just 1 of 2 from the floor, 3 points, 4 rebounds. But just, continues to kind of look out of rhythm, not in the flow of the offense or defense, really. And Lathan Sommerville getting the bulk of the time. But not really surprising. Zach Martini getting the minutes in to close out the game and came through. He had a big defensive rebound and hit 2 free throws down the stretch that really helped extend that lead and keep St. Peter's from getting any closer. Dylan had, some really heady drives when Rutgers needed a basket. He gave them the lead on that layup that ended up being the game-winning basket. Did it again later on. And is just instinctually, he knows what to do with the basketball with the game on the line. Jeremiah Williams, listen, he's a gutty player. He played really hard. He was just 2 of 8 from the floor. That shoulder, he's wearing that brace. It looks like it's bothering him. He wasn't listed as questionable on the injury report, availability report, but he was just 2 of 8 from the floor, 4 points, did have 3 rebounds, led the team with 4 assists, just 1 turnover, 2 steals. I mean, he had the best plus-minus 17 in the game. He's a captain. He left it on the floor. If he can get that shoulder feeling a little bit better and he can be a little bit more productive and in the flow offensively, more so how he was in game 1, he's going to be just fine for this team. Overall, Zach Martini, 7 points on 2 of 5 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, had 4 rebounds, an assist, and a steal in 23 minutes. PJ Hayes didn't have a great night, had 5 points, 2 of 4 from the floor, 1 of 3 for 3, did have 7 rebounds, all defensive, did have 3 assists and a block. So, I mean, listen, if that's a kind of a subpar night for PJ Hayes, we'll take it. Defensively, still has a ways to go, no doubt. Tyson Acuff still not there yet. 2 points, 1 of 3 from the floor, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal in 15 minutes. And then Jermichael Davis, he was in there for defense. He played relatively good defense. He was 3 of 4 from the field for 7 points. He did make a big bucket down the stretch off kind of the baseline near the rim, got fouled, did miss a free throw, was just 1 of 3 from the foul line, but had 2 rebounds, 2 assists overall in 23 minutes. So, a lot of mixed minutes there. You had anywhere from, take a bull out of the situation, and you had 8 guys that played anywhere from 15 to 7 guys that played anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes. Dylan at the high end at 32, Ogbole at the low end at 10. Rotation's still working themselves out. And again, this team's going to look different when Ace is back, and I think it's going to be soon. But St. Peter's, they went to the NCAA tournament in the MAC championship last year tournament. They played Seton Hall, really tough, lost by 4. They played UMass Lowell, a good mid-major, really tough, lost by 7. Did not expect them to come in and be intimidated whatsoever. They were not. They took it to Rutgers. And Rutgers, Steve Peichel talks in the preseason at Media Day that Rutgers hadn't been punched in the mouth yet. Well, tonight they got punched in the mouth, and guess what? They responded. They closed out the game the way you have to close out the game. Was it a good enough effort against a Big Ten team? No, it wasn't. It's game 2, and they're going to learn from this. They're going to progress from this. Steve Peichel's got tape now to really grind on this team and get them to respond better on coming up this Friday. And I think that overall, just in terms of what we've seen this program battle through in close November bye games in the past, a 10-point win is a 10-point win. And no, I don't think there's like screaming red flags for this team. I mean, obviously, they have to be much better defensively. Peichel even going to zone a little bit down the stretch there, stymied St. Peter's. But I think just, a little bit better court awareness, a little bit more fluidity in their defensive rotations. I think guys are still kind of learning where to be in certain spots and how to kind of react within what the opponent is doing. And again, you're missing Ace in this game. I think Jay Will, is not 100%. And I think this team's only going to get better on the defensive end. So that is where things laid out in this game. Also, just in terms of Rutgers shot 48% overall from the floor, St. Peter's 40%. And again, just 3 of 16 from 3-point range. That was certainly a disappointment. Dylan was 1 of 6, Durkak 0 of 1, Jay Will 0 of 2, Martini 1 of 3, Hayes 1 of 3, both consistent there. And then Acuff 0 of 1. Need more from the 3-point line, no doubt. That would have certainly changed things. But it was encouraging to see them close things out from the line and get defensive stops down the stretch. Very important for this team to respond the way they did. Great crowd once again. And for St. Peter's, Randolph went off 22 points, did have 4 fouls, and nobody else scored in double figures for St. Peter's. Rutgers, just Sommerville and Harper, the 2 freshmen, in double figures. You had Durkak at 9, Martini and Davis at 7. A little bit of a mismatch after that. But overall, just in terms of Rutgers finishing at the rim, it was better. Let's see how many shots they took. Let's see. It was 31 and then 16. So 47 of their 56 shots at the rim or behind the arc. Again, that's smart offensive strategy. That's analytically sound offensive strategy. So that is encouraging that they continue to have the right approach. Shot making is going to come, but they have the right approach. And we knew coming in, St. Peter's fouls a ton. Rutgers was able to take advantage of that, got to the line 25 times, hit 18, especially they were in the bonus in that second half. That really carried them in this victory, I thought, as well. And just really was important for this team. So, they didn't take away one of the strengths of St. Peter's, which is defending the 3, but they were able to capitalize on some weaknesses in terms of fouling, in terms of turnovers. They forced 9 turnovers overall, and they were able to, just in terms of bench points. The bench showed up tonight, 28 points. St. Peter's to get some production as well. But those assists, 14 assists on 27 baskets, another encouraging sign. Dylan Harper is fantastic. He needs help and needed more consistency from the guys around him tonight. Like I said, I think certain guys made certain plays at certain times. Overall, the team's approach was there. But defensively, they just were not able to deliver the type of suffocating defense, closing out the arc the way they're going to need to against good teams. So plenty to learn in this game. St. Peter's 216 and Ken Palm coming in. Rutgers was 60. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if they're going to fall back or not. But at the end of the day, not disastrous. You got a 10-point win. Again, projected to win by 16. They get a 10-point win. St. Peter's, got a great chance to win their league. This is not a low-level 330 ranked team. This is a team that can win their mid-major league for sure. So I thought, Rutgers getting this type of test, it's only going to help now. We may look back at this game at Feast Week a couple weeks from now and say, you know what? They had that close game at the rack. They knew what it felt like to have to come through and make stops and make baskets down the stretch. And that helped them in X game in Vegas. You never know. For the team to have to get through this type of battle tonight and do so relatively unscathed, I think is important. And going back to Peicocks' preseason comments, they haven't been punched in the mouth yet. Well, now we could say they got punched in the mouth. They responded the way you wanted them to. Great crowd once again. Ace Bailey still hasn't made his debut. Really want to see what this team looks like with him. Again, roles are going to be different. Shot selection is going to be different. Minutes are going to be different. But the team's doing what they have to do. And salute to Dylan Harper for taking the lead. And for this team to come through in the stretch that they did. Again, defense is where Steve Peicocks is going to lean on when these games are close, and Rutgers delivering the knockout blow, the kill shot in the end, holding St. Peter's scoreless over 4 minutes, 11-0 run, the final 3:49. It was close. It was a close call, closer than anyone wanted it to be, but Rutgers now 2-0 on the season. Rutgers will be back on Friday, November 15th, hosting Monmouth at 6:30 on BTN. And we'll have plenty more before that. We'll have a preview coming up on Thursday. We'll see if I do anything tomorrow, too. We'll see what happens. I'll try to do a highlight video also, and have Steve Peicocks' presser up as well on my YouTube channel. So check that out. And thanks so much for listening and watching once again here at the Scarlet Faithful podcast.